yesterday's talks. Concentrate, calmness, silence, and serenity. In Buddhism, who really understand and see the Dhamma. So the Dhamma is pointing to the direction, fulfill the goals of high quality cultivation. What is the meaning of this high quality cultivation? Means the most valuable of the human life is this body and mind. So how to make this body and mind into his own nature? The nature of life is high quality. If today's work, you can see in our life, everything we look for is high quality. Chocolate, who make the high quality chocolate? Machine, who make the high quality machine? And then living, where I want to make my life to live in high quality. And then if I have a children, how to educate and help him to make his life into high skillful and high education. So come to Buddhism also, how to make this body and mind into high quality cultivation. How cultivation means inside, how to go more deep into the mindset and more stabilize the mind. This is called work for high quality of life. If I want to think it back, how to explain this into a very practical word in English about these high qualities of nature. I remember long ago when I buy one book and cannot read until right now. I not read the content yet. That English book is Mindfulness in Plain English, written by Bhikkhu Gunaratana in Virginia, there, Metta Forest Monastery. Bhavana Society, Forest Monastery. Right now, he is, I think, over 95 years old monk. So he have a very famous book that very good selling in the past. It's called Mindfulness in Plain English. I just read that and keep it in mind. That is what it points to. Plain. So train in plain, mindful. It makes sense to me when I read it. I got the message. This is what we need to work for. If we say that I want to learn something practically in order that I can master something skillfully. Not only the knowledge I know, but I got the benefit from it. That is the word plan. So Buddhism talk about purification means we need to wet out all this color in the mind. It may take times, it may take whole life, it may take all your energy to work for this, because so colorful our mind. You can't tell how deep to clean it out. It's like you clean the lake. You don't know how deep this merged and polluted. Not many of us can go too long hour, too far deep of cleaning. So large of them, maybe 97% of them just go half of his very life and then give up, because they still cannot come to the goal or come to the bottom of cleaning, and they feel no hope there, been disturbed by some obstacle, some levels of difficulty that they give up. And myself, that determination and my truthfulness tell me, no matter how the problem is and the difficult is, always have the solution to work it out. Always we can rise up some skillful means for antidote. This is what I see differently. Fighting for difficult is the mindset that desire is a hope. So when you're facing the difficult, you don't have hope there. It means you don't have desire to fight for it. So the four string, the first one is desire. The second one is contemplate, mind, inside. So for a normal guy who don't have faith to the Dhamma, he only have desire for rush, desire for sensual grabbing, desire for thinking mind, but he don't know how to stop the thinking mind. He don't have the desire for stop the thinking mind. So cannot meditate. And meditate for some hours, some time, he just say, oh, too difficult, too deep, too much disturbance, give up. And he don't listen to the, what we call that, sharing, or don't listen to the, what we call that, people's advice or teachers' advice. So he don't put it into training. not remember into the skill. That is something that not focus. So why we need a teacher? Because we need advice, we need warning, we need sharing all the time, and sometimes that we need to work together. So high qualities cultivation, always not for exterior, but for interior deepening, to observe and penetrate to it, deepening the stable. Where is the, I can stop for the stabilize of my mind, in order that to go deep into it, clean out all the obstacles and hindrance, make the mind come into his very unshakable. That state, I call it silent. So from the silence, it's very plain, means you can tell the color, but it is back to his own nature. So the Chinese Buddhism say that, come into the nature. He used the word nature. Means that the mind not rising is the nature. So later on they use another word, another term to point to the same thing. It is called the beginning mind. Zen mind is the beginning mind. So we need to back that grab. What is the beginning mind? Mindfulness is the first watch of the mind. Grab it. Now that this first come into being's mind, change it. So, insight meditation is the very popular word of right now for meditation. So, insight meditation. They become a term that new fashion. All the meditation of the West, they like it. But how much you can bring the time and energy into it? And if you close to them and stay with them, in Buddhism we call that 3 highest of training. Come to purifying the mind and see you are there with insight. The mind changes into insight. They have 3 levels to go. So the first level we call that discipline. Or Vinaya. So for us, we don't talk about this and that, prohibited this and that, abstain this and that. We don't talk too much there. That you need to read the book. But briefly say, some principle. You need to keep it in mind. If you don't remember this principle, then you don't get the benefits of discipline. And you don't see the benefit at all of discipline. Then you will really lose of your own training with this body and verbal. You cannot purify the verbal and body of this very quality. So discipline have its own 10 principles. I may not remember the English right now, but the 10 principles that I can check a little bit, and tomorrow give you the information about these 10 principles. They call that 10 direct benefit for the life quality of verbal and conduct when you are in the high qualities cultivation of this life. When we use insight or use wisdom, I use the word back to wisdom, to see the life itself. The training in Buddhism talk about what is the goal we need to circle ourselves into this cultivation or development. So we circle ourselves like Master Zen monks in Vietnamese tradition. The teacher called Tin Hằng already passed away not long ago. When I went to visit his monastery, Deer Park in California. So in Deer Park, his great hall, his meditation hall there, have no Buddha statue, no any statue there at the back of the hall, but they have a big circle there. And the circle inside have his word. Selflessness. He is a reform monk. Reform all these monks' attachment to different school, different stages of the religious spirit. Represent to this name, represent this teaching. This name represent this teaching. They have lots of different color things of the skillful training. Because of this, too many things, they conflict to each other, not make harmony, because people not easy to overcome this color. Then he take out all this color and just circle it and write it there. Selflessness. That what was said there. No selfish, isn't it? Is it like that? Yeah. What is our mind talk about? Gossiping about? I think this word is very makes sense to me. If you are not selfish, you won't run away. If you are not selfish, it's very easy to come into and go into. Not divisive yourself with that condition. Always easy in all conditions because you are blank. So from there, I only in the meditation hall 2 days. When that is the, we call that Western monastic gathering together. I've been there. And after these 2 days meditation in the meditation hall and watching that sign, for me, I don't want to go more into the discussion because the discussion and listen to all this complaining about monkhood in his duty and monkhood in his practice, I see this difficulty and complain and look for solution to work it out. It's not exterior you can find. So I think after that is the only last monastic gathering I joined in, and then after that I don't go anymore. I am a foreign monk come into this country. My English that time is very poor, even though listen and cannot fully understand the language telling the message. Not even though I can speak in English to explain what I know. So that for me is elementary school or even though the secondary schools of students come into the advanced meeting, I am no hope there. Can bring the sharing and help. Because in the gathering they use English word to share. That is a very advanced situation that I cannot make myself as a foreigner come into being. Unless they still in that history level, they come to the East and learn the East language and want to know about what is the saying in the East language, then I may able to sharing and give help. If they're not wishing to learn from them, not much I can make myself involved in this mission. So I'll give up myself. But in the bottom line, I just saw that word. It's the only way out. So how to make this mindset plain? It's all about from the Dhamma begin from the Buddha himself, come into all this lineage, generation to generation. For the monkhood, they have not much in the knowledge and in this all color, but it is in the bottom of the mind and heart. If we can come to plan, everything merge into that nature. No need to use language. Stop the planning in your mind. Stop all the complaint in your mind. That is nothing you can discriminate there. If something still can discriminate in your mind, you will not come to the bottom principle yet. Still need to work hard for that. In order that you are foundation back into the yogi spirit. This is what I viewing that and get the message of it and work hard for this. This is what I want to reflection, contemplate back into my own mind nature in order that I'm not distant from this very basic of the monastic training. Thank you.